Let's make some noise! Let's do this!
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's great to be here. Hello, Ritchie. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing, Natalie?
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of SOC Live. It's great to have you all here. I see there's lots of people tapping away in the comments already. That is absolutely fantastic. It is.
That is wonderful.
Yes, it's wonderful, and it's great to be here. And it is also really exciting. I need to let the cat out the bag straight away because I can feel my pulse is a little bit higher than normal. Because Ritchie and I are flying solo today. We have been abandoned by our backup crew. Not really, but they are busy on set on another location. So I have the power of driving the ship together with the support of Ritchie here. So if something is a bit off or is amiss, please bear with us. We will, I'm sure we will cruise through this, and you will be.
Yeah, so if something goes wrong, we'll blame Natalie, and and then move on.
Please do.
We should have told. We should have told everybody that we had replaced the backup crew with AI. That's how we should have framed it.
Yes. Well, that would be great. But anyway, so there we go. And I think, with all of that said, let me push another button. And let's welcome everyone and tell us where you are watching from. Tell us what you're doing. And send us a couple of comments so that I can see that I can do this.
And I just want to say thanks for everybody who's tuning in, and it's great to see you guys. I'm so glad that there's a lot of comments already. That the chat section is filled with hellos and everything. And it's great for you guys to even chat with each other in there and kind of make friends and all that kind of stuff. So it's all very wonderful. We already have a number of people that are tuning in from across the world, and that's why we're here for you guys, and we just appreciate it all.
Yes, and there we have our first gremlin already. I have no idea what this is, but thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you appear here just now as well. Hold on a second. There we go. Maybe you were a little bit too enthusiastic too quickly. But I think
I'm glad that Natalie's got, the controls and that she's in charge of all this and not me.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know why this is not showing in the right color. But anyway. There we go.
Somebody's tuning in from Germany. Do you know who that is?
Yes, it is. Torsten is saying hello from Germany.
Oh, hi, Torsten. Thanks for joining us. And there we go.
Yeah,
there it is. Yeah.
And we also have Pilot Pete here. And,
hello, Pilot Pete.
Yes, and then there is also someone shouting "Oh, Walla Walla." I'm not quite sure who the person is.
Walla Walla is on the eastern side of Washington, and they're known for their sweet onions. Little trivia.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. That's awesome. Another round of smoke right at the holiday weekend. Okay, that doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, there's wildfires, I think, up in Canada, and there's quite a bit of smoke in the kind of northeast United States.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah, a few years back when I lived in Utah, that we had some seasons where there was lots of fires in like California, Washington, and Oregon, and we were just for days on end, weeks, just covered in smoke every day.
Yes, yeah, shame. Not very good at all. Sorry.
No.
But we also have Bo here from
Hi, Bo.
Hilversum. Hi, Bo. Thank you so much for joining us. So this has been really cool. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So far, so good.
Yes. We We are running a poll today. So in case you haven't seen the link, it is pinned in the comment section. So please do join us. You can go to the link, maybe use a phone or another device so that you don't leave us here. And we've got 2 questions to ask you. So the first one is already open. So please join us and let us know your thoughts on this. We will share the results towards the end of the show. We also asked a question. Oopsie, that was not good.
The cat's really out of the bag now.
Yeah, sorry. So we asked a question in the pre-show about the concept of AI and when it was first born, and I just totally messed that up. But maybe you didn't read so quickly. But anyway, there was no one who really asked or gave us their thoughts in the comments. So I'm not sure if we should give you another moment to think about that, or if we should lift the already beans.
We can give it a minute more. Let's see. What do you guys think? When was AI first conceptualized? What time period do you think? And I know you may know, because we skipped ahead on the slide and kind of let the cat out of the bag. But if you weren't too quick to see that, then give us a guess in the comments, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. Yes. And this whole episode is about AI, and specifically about using AI film simulation recipes. And we've been shooting with those, and of course we'll get all to this in a moment. But we've been shooting with those for the last several weeks, and I'm definitely curious about your guys' experience with that. Do you like these kind of recipes and that kind of stuff? So, or did you dislike it? Do you dislike the idea of it? Do you love the idea of it? Anything like that. Just let us know in the comments what your thoughts and opinions are, because we're here to chat this up with you today.
Okay, so we have a really good guest here already from Pilot Pete. It's close. It's close. Not quite the period, but it's very close. Thank you. Any more guesses? Any more guesses that may bring us closer? If not,
I do like the Arnold Schwarzenegger guess,
Yeah, very nice. I really enjoyed reading up on this. So, I'm just going to put this back on the screen. So the first thoughts or talks about this, came out a really, really long time ago. And Jerry just wrote this guess, and he said 1960s, which I think it's also quite a fair guess. And Bo also, he guessed the 1950s. So there are two kind of numbers that we think would be valuable. Not that there are any prizes to be won anyway, but so this Gottfried Leibniz was a German philosopher and mathematician, and he first came up with this whole concept about, trying to put the human thought into a mathematical equation, if I, just say it in my simple words. But the 1950s and 1960s was when things really got a lot more specific, and this is when the actual concept, I think when the word was actually coined. Am I making sense there, Ritchie?
Yeah, I think so. So the term AI was coined in, I think you said the 1960s. That's what you told me before the show. And it really was the invention of the computer that allowed, the steps to be taken towards creating AI. But the first original idea of how it could work and what it would be was first thought of all the way back in the 1600s, which is just amazing. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, that is totally crazy. Yeah, but so we think like only the time that we're living now is so crazy, but actually, a lot of crazy people have had lots of crazy thoughts a long time ago already.
Yeah, Yeah, and so it just tells you, like, if you have some really, really crazy idea, put it on paper, and then maybe 300-400 years from now, somebody will say that you were a genius because you thought of it so long ago.
Yes. And you can thank us later.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Yeah, so I really enjoyed reading that episode. If you have a few moments and a little bit of time to spend, then go and read up on this. It's really interesting, all the stuff that's gone before ChatGPT. And then I thought, if there are any movie boffins out here, maybe you have not seen one of the movies that I really enjoyed, which is related to this, and that was the Imitation Game. And the photography, cinematography was amazing in this movie as well. And it's about one of those founders. He created like this first computer and whatever. So yeah, very cool. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It was amazing. Okay. And what are we going to talk about in today's show? So I thought I just wanted to, bring this up again. And because Richie and I, we keep on talking about it, that we have the theme show where we actually talk about exactly what kind of photography we want you guys to do this month, and we have all these recipes that we recommend. But we found that in the last season, there often wasn't enough time to answer all your questions. So this part in the month is really for you guys to ask questions, to bring any kind of issues you may have with the recipes, or any other, maybe if you have some findings, maybe you had a revelation about a recipe you were shooting with, or whatever the case may be. So, today is the day that we can discuss all of this. So I'm quite excited. I'm also quite excited that Bo is here, and actually Enrico is here as well with us. And I hope you guys will stick around a little bit longer. There is a special treat that these two guys have submitted. So we will have a bit of a chat after we've looked at more photographs.
Yep. So, the previous show, we chatted about the recipes a little bit, introduced them. We looked at, we discussed where these recipes came from. We made a recipe live on the show, and all that kind of stuff. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed the experience of going through and actually creating a recipe. As far as I know, that's the only time it's ever been done live on YouTube. So it was a first for YouTube. It was a first for us, and it was a eye-opening experience in some ways. In some ways, the results were exactly what I think we anticipated that they would be. And so that was last week, and now we got a new show not last week, the last episode. We got a new show this episode, and we're going to be looking at our pictures, your pictures, and just answering any and all questions that you have. And I kind of jumped the gun a little bit here on the recap.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with you, Richie. You got some places to go today.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
So that's my fault for not doing enough show prep. But yeah, we looked at what's out there. We tried it. We did it live, and we talked about it a little bit. So if you missed that episode, go back and watch it for sure. Yes,
absolutely. There's been lots of I think interesting stuff that we talked about and chatted with you guys, and also what we think additional stuff to just creating the recipes with ChatGPT, but AI in general. So go check it out, watch it if you haven't. And going right ahead with what we did in the last show, and that was as always, we recommend a couple of recipes for you to shoot with. And these were of course, all ChatGPT related and created. 4 in total. 2 of those, Ritchie, you had created earlier already. Then there was one that I had created before the theme show, and this last one was the one that we created live during the show.
Yep. So so we challenge you to shoot with 1, 2, or all 4, or however many of these recipes that you wanted to. Urban Dreams and Kodak Ektachrome E100 VSV1. That's a mouthful. But those 2 recipes are on FujiXweekly.com. They're on the Fuji X Weekly app. They're official recipes, and I like both of those. Soft Blue Classic was one that Nathalie had AI make for the show, in preparation for the show, so we used that. And then the Vivid Summer Glow was one that we made live during the show. And I'm really curious about your reaction to that one, but really all of them. I want to know if you've shot with any or all of them, what your opinions are. And we give like a little brief synopsis and opinion of each of these recipes, what they're good for, what they're poor for, what maybe it's kind of like to use it. And but I would love your feedback. What do you guys think?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to look at your comments after we've run through all the pictures that were submitted. So we've received quite a few, and as always, we will also put a viewer slideshow together and post that a little bit later on the channel as well, and you can see all the images. We've selected some that we will look at just now in all the different recipes that were shot, and to just highlight what these recipes could be used for or not. And I think because these are not really recipes that, emulate a specific film and were made by Ritchie, it's a little bit more, it's interesting to get some more feedback from you guys as well, what your experience was shooting with this. I mean, we all know how much Ritchie loved the soft blue classic recipe. But let's just have a look. And, as always, we've given you some challenges, which, the images are kind of like in line with. And as always, we want you to shoot the recipes with everything and anything that, you feel like shooting and experimenting with. And then in particular, we also wanted you to use the recipe that was created during the show. And then we challenged you to, see if maybe you can create your own and shoot with it and test out what that comes out at. So we will go and look at what you have created and what you've come up with. But first of all, we thought we'll have a look at the images that we made, so we can highlight a few things about the different recipes before we go into your creations. And
because we don't just challenge you guys to shoot with the recipes, but we do it ourselves as well. So we're all doing this together. It's a community of a challenge, I guess.
Yes.
Community wide that we're involved in too. So this was with the Urban Dreams. I actually like that recipe a lot because it really reminds me of Kodachrome 200, which I was telling Nathalie, like I did not, like ages ago when I shot film and shot a lot of slide film, I did not like Kodachrome 200. I shot a lot of Kodachrome 64, a little bit of Kodachrome 25. Kodachrome 200 was a little bit more, was a little less exciting and was really grainy, and I just was not attracted to it at all. But now all these years later, Urban Dreams is not an exact match for it, but it has a similar feel and aesthetic, and I really like it. So I guess tastes change and all that stuff with age, I guess. But the funny story with this particular picture is I was on Ken Rockwell's Central California photography tour just a couple weeks ago, and it's actually hosted by this photographer named Dave Wyman, who's not necessarily all that well known. He has several books. He's leads these been leading these tours for forever. He's 75 years old and has more energy than I do. But he knows all these like obscure locations. And so we go down this road that it just winds back in the hills. It's one of those roads you would never drive on your own unless you were just out exploring or something. And then we stop at this place, and it's like, why are we stopping here? There's nothing here. And you walk down a little bit, you hike up this big hill, and then all of a sudden there's these old antique cars just abandoned there. And it was really a obscure place. But I used the Urban Dreams recipe to capture this photo.
I'm glad this wasn't your ride.
No, yeah, a lot of spiders and probably snakes in that area. But
oh gosh,
yeah.
But a very nice photo and a really good example for the Urban Dreams. I kept it a little bit more urban with my sample picture, but I think you can tell in those two images, really the tones and the blues are very much the same and a little bit muted. I also really enjoyed shooting with this recipe. I shot with it quite a lot. So I got many different scenes and occasions that I shot with. And I think it's extremely versatile, which is always nice. And what I found also is when I was in like a more modern setting, in like a really kind of like downtown Manhattan, Wall Street, high-rise buildings kind of scenarios, this recipe really, it delivered these really nice, crisp buildings. I didn't choose it as a sample because the verticals weren't straight enough. So it bothered me too much, so I couldn't. But I think it's a really good example to go out and shoot, like literally in urban, in the city. So try it out if you haven't, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's versatile. I like using it for like overcast days. It's good for like blue hour photography, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then to the mouthful recipe, Kodak Ektachrome E100 VS V1, another ChatGPT made recipe. But it was actually, I'd asked it to make a recipe that mimics the second era of Kodachrome. And it doesn't do that, but it does emulate Ektachrome, the E100 VS version of it. There was like over 40 films with the Ektachrome name, and E100 VS was just one of those. But yeah, it's got really vibrant colors. It's just slightly warm, and it's just if you want something to pop, it's a good recipe to use for that. What I didn't know when I captured this photo was that if I took 2 steps to the left, it was actually a much better composition. And I did do that, but I used a different recipe. But anyways, here's my photo of the recipe at the ocean.
Yes, and the rest will reveal itself in another article about another recipe, I guess. Yeah, no, it's really very vibrant indeed, and I love how the shoes of this lady just really pop up. So that's why I thought I'll show you that. I have a thing with red, so most recipes I look at what it does with reds. So nice bright reds on Kodak Ektachrome. And then we move to Ritchie's favorite recipe.
So I think this one does. I think where it shines, I guess, where to use it is when it's very contrasty and warm. If the light is contrasty and warm, you can use this recipe to tone that down. So this is like midday light, and then you could see that it really pulled back the harshness of it. If I had used a different recipe, it probably would have appeared overly. The blacks would have been too black. The highlights would have been too white. The colors would have been just kind of like yellowish. But because I use this recipe, it actually, renders pretty decently. But other than that, I really did not like using Softwood Classic.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just in general gives a very, very subdued, toned down look, which may work in certain situations.
Yeah.
But then to our star of the show, the recipe we created last time. Mm-hmm. And it works really well indoors, clearly, Ritchie.
Yeah, apparently it does. This is a glass maker in this tiny town of Harmony, California, that claims it has a population of 18. I'm not sure if this guy is one of the 18 or not, but he was there, making glass, blowing glass, and it was interesting to watch. You mostly use a different recipe for this scenario. But I gave the Vivid Summer Glow a try just to see what it would do, and I liked the results of it.
Yes, it's very nice, and it's always nice to see that you can use a recipe in more than one situation. On the other hand, I try to see if I'm pushing it too far, if I take a picture in like the golden hour of the day, but it stands its ground. So you can use it even in those scenarios as well. All right, but
of
so
course
much.
It's not summer where you're at, so it's the name of it is Vivid Summer Glow, and we kind of joke that it's not all that vivid summer like glowy, but it does have some resemblance to Kodachrome, the second era Kodachrome 2. It's very similar to my Kodachrome 2 recipe with some small changes here and there. But I wondered if ChatGPT actually more or less copied the Kodachrome 2 recipe and just made like a few changes to it. I would love if ChatGPT provided its sources, but when you press it to give that to you, it really doesn't like to.
Yes. So we will never know.
We will never know.
But it was nice. And let's see what you guys came up with. So we have a couple of images that we looked at that we thought, really represent all the different recipes. So should we jump right in it? And we obviously invite everyone to comment on the photographs that you see, anything that you notice. You're welcome. I'm sure everyone would be more than happy to get compliments for the images. I think there's some really, really good images here that we received. So thank you for all the submissions. And share your comments. We can go and check those shortly.
Yeah, and it's not a critique, but what I will say is that the set that was submitted this week was pretty strong. So it was good to see that, and this is Urban Dreams, and we didn't receive very many shots using that recipe, and my assumption is that most of you didn't use it, but I would definitely love to hear your input of what you thought of that recipe. What's your feedback? But yes. This recipe, or this picture using the recipe, you can see the blues and the yellow, and it's an interesting picture of a demolition of what I assume is some sort of hotel or apartment. And I like the picture just for the story of it, and the colors.
Yes, absolutely. What I also wanted to say was that. Sorry.
Is that your dog in the background getting a drink of water?
It is. Sorry, that's why I'm just a little bit distracted at the moment. But so anyway, so we got this image. We really like it a lot, and there are a couple more that we will share in the slideshow. So keep an eye out for it when we publish it. Yeah, let's move on over to the next film simulation that we received from Annabeth, and she shot only with Kodak Ektachrome. At least she only submitted images with this recipe, so I guess she liked it a lot.
Yeah, the other thing I always like to point out, I point out this every episode, but the limitations of the software kind of blow out the highlights when they're not really so bright in real life. And so you gotta give a pass to that. You know,
Yes.
don't judge too harshly the highlights because it's the software, not the picture.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we got a second recipe that is a little bit more controlled, I guess, sort of indoors, or at least, undercover, which is also, showing you that, very controlled colors and quite a nice feel overall, I think. So very well done, Annabeth.
Yeah, it looks like a really cool place to take pictures too, that train station.
Yes, definitely. And then moving over to something more colorful.
Uh-oh.
And that is not an image from Annabeth. That is an image that Dan submitted. So I'm sorry about that error. One of his submissions, and I absolutely love those colors. And I think that image is really well taken, and it shows how punchy this recipe is with those colors.
Yeah, and sorry, Dan, about the typo down there. Dan Allen submitted this picture, not Annabeth, but yeah, I like the symmetry of it and stuff. It's a cool picture.
Yes, very cool. And some more punchy images from Enrico. He also shot with Kodak Ektachrome, and there you see, the broad spectrum of colors, and I really enjoy how it translates here. Really nicely done. And he also shared with us that he really enjoyed shooting with it. Enrico said that it was love at first sight when he used the recipe. And he feels that, especially nature and landscape and wildlife is what he really enjoyed shooting with this recipe.
Something I like about this particular picture is the horses are facing the opposite direction from each other. It kind of gives like this tension to it. And then you have these little almost triangle shapes of these different color, like the green in the foreground and the yellow just behind it. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yes, it is very, very nicely photographed. And thank you guys for all your comments. We will get to them when we've run through them. Then we can go back and look at the comments together with the pictures. And there's another Kodak Ektachrome. This one's from Torsten. And I really enjoyed the very vibrant colors in this one with the car and the flag and everything. So that really...
Sorry about that jet noise.
It drew me to it. Yeah, we're definitely having a noisy session this time, right?
Yeah, I live near an Air Force base, so every once in a while we get F-35 or sometimes an F-16 or something fly over.
Okay. A little bit more difficult to control than a dog that's scratching around on the carpet. Yeah. And
so you were saying that this neighborhood, like you were very familiar with it.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you, Torsten, because this is my hometown. This is clearly one of the images that he took during our SOC meetup. So thank you for that submission. That is nice, a nice piece of home, nice memory. So thank you for sharing that. And then we have our last image of Kodak Ektachrome. Quite the dramatic scene. I absolutely love this photograph.
Do you recognize the skyline? What
Do I
city that
recognize?
is?
Do I recognize the skyline?
Yeah.
As in, like,
Do you know which city we're looking at?
um, no.
No, me neither. So Walter, if you're watching, let us know what city this is. I think that would be interesting. It's a lovely, beautiful picture that obviously the lighting was just like absolutely wonderful. One of those dreams. It looks like a dream, but you hope for lighting like this and rarely get it, and you found it and you took a wonderful picture, well composed and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for submitting it. This image was striking. I would, it's a picture you'd love to have on your wall or something, in your house.
Yes. Absolutely. So I couldn't resist because I totally agree with Pilot Pete. These
Hmm.
images are really, really good, and this one is striking. But I thought you had me there for a second. I thought I'm supposed to know the skyline or
Yeah, no,
the
I just didn't
city.
know if you knew it or not.
No,
Like it
I
looks
don't.
familiar. Like I think I should know it, but I can't quite figure out what it is. Which one?
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting. There's so much
Hmm.
going on, so many different shapes of buildings.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Nice. Definitely nice indeed. And then Bo sent us this image in soft blue classic. Nice, even toned scene. Um, yeah.
Well, what I found interesting about this picture in particular is you have this like kind of yellowish looking hats on the left. Well, I mean the far left one is more of a orange or peach or something, but then and kind of a similar color to the shirt on the lady on the right. But then there's the yellow chair on the right and the two red chairs on the left. So I that pattern struck out to me.
Mm.
I don't.
Yes.
That's what was interesting to me about it.
Yes, a very interesting, interesting array of color, opposing color
Hmm.
coordination there going on.
Yeah.
Definitely very interesting, and kept nice and subdued in our soft blue classic. So
Hmm.
thank you for that. And
And
that
we
was
didn't
the
get very many. Yeah, we didn't get very
mm,
many submissions with this recipe.
yeah. So this is the only one that we will be looking at. So it clearly wasn't your favorite, and we should have the poll, if I haven't said it yet already, open, so you can tell us which one you felt was the one that you enjoyed the most.
And I would love to know, Bo, if you want to let us know what you thought of this recipe. I would love to hear it.
Yes, absolutely. All right, but moving on to our vivid summer glow. Um, so let's start out with
We have
some glow.
Dan's name right on this one.
Yes,
So
we do. Thank you for submitting this one also. I like the glow that you added to this picture.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah, it took that sunset. I'm assuming
mm,
it's that way maybe because of the smoke that they're experiencing. Kind of gave it that look,
okay.
but it takes this recipe, even though it's called Vivid Summer Glow. That's what the AI named it. Um, it takes the sun being right in there to get that glow.
Yes, yeah. I think AI was maybe a little bit over ambitious there.
Yeah.
But definitely works for this one. And yeah, it's nice to get some people photography in there as well. Some images by Jerry, who photographed nice festivities. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
somebody's
nice
telling
as
a
well.
funny story.
Yeah,
I almost want to know what it is. He's
yeah,
talking about here.
yeah, absolutely. So very in the moment, which is
Hmm.
nice. And then another one of Jerry's. He clearly liked a Vivid Summer Glow because he submitted quite a few images in this recipe. And then some very focus going on in this image.
Yeah, I don't know who that is in the picture, but I swear I've ran across like a very similar character before, and almost similar situation where you have like this construction and the fence is kind of blocked off so you can't see what it is. A guy with the jacket and the hat and the little camera or phone that he's using to take a picture. Like I swear, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure it's not the same person, but it's like the same scenario that I've run across before. It's a really cool picture though.
Yes, it is. It's another action shot, which is really cool, and then we have another action shot that Simon sent us. Some very cool skateboarding going on. I hope no one got hurt while this picture was created.
Yeah, it looks like something that was made for like marketing or something. Like it is like a really cool like it could be a promotional shot for some product or something. It's really cool.
Yes, I absolutely love the rim lighting on this person.
Mm-hmm.
It's really quite spectacular, very glowy.
Yeah, this one's got to go. I'm guessing that a diffusion filter was used, some sort of like Black Pro Mist or Cinebloom or something like that.
Yeah.
To give it that glow.
Yeah. Yeah, very good thinking there. And then we've got another one in that series in the same recipe. And
I call this shot Finding Nemo. That's what I find. That's what I call it. Finding
yes. Nemo. Yeah. Sorry, just give me 1 second, please.
Oh, so I really like this picture. I like the lighting of it and the composition, and it's another one of those that could be like advertisement shot or that kind of thing. And Simon, if you're watching, I don't know if you're here today, but would definitely love to hear your input of the backstory of all this. You know, was this some sort of planned shoot? Was it just spontaneous that you ran across it, or let us know if you're watching.
Yes. Sorry, I am back again. I had to do
some the dog get his thirst quenched?
Yeah, I hope that he's going to be quiet now. Sorry about that. Anyway, all right. So we have more pictures though. There is another submission from Torsten, and this is the last image in the series. Another Vivid Summer Glow from him, and again, a good example what you can achieve with this picture. And I love the composition and the different lines. The composition
is wonderful.
Yeah,
the angle and the line cutting down to make a triangle, and just how the bushes or trees or whatever it is separates this rail car from the rest of the scene. You know.
Yes. Yeah. So another really well taken image. And I just wanted to go back on some of these because we've got some comments on them. And we have this recipe here, and it's a Jerry who says that the recipe creates flair as well. So I think that's quite an interesting observation there. And then Dan said here that this is the Kodak Tower.
Oh, there
Dan
you go.
always has to show off with his hometown.
Well, yeah, he lives in the heart of Kodak country, you know, right there, you know, Rochester, New York, so Kodak is just like everywhere there. I got to visit someday. I gotta go and pay homage to the home of Kodak. That'd be a cool little experience.
We should host an SOC meetup there sometime.
Yeah.
Right, and then some more praise for Walter's image. Thank you, Bo. Yes, it's definitely gorgeous, gorgeous light. This image deserves to get printed really big.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And then Dan sharing some love for Torsten's picture, which is really nice.
Nice and colorful.
Yes. And these are Dan's daughter's dahlias.
There you go.
How is that for a tongue twister?
Alliteration. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Awesome. Stunning images. Thank you, guys. Really cool.
Cool.
But we have a special treat, I think, now in this next section, because if you remember, we posed a challenge where we asked you to maybe consider creating your own recipe with ChatGPT and then see what photographs it gives you. And we had some people rise to the occasion. And so we're going to have a look at that. We have Bo, who sent us this image, and he sent us quite a long explanation with it on how he created this image. And he shared the whole chat with us, which was really cool and interesting. But basically, as the recipe name suggested, he tried to get ChatGPT to create a Wes Anderson-inspired image. And I know that, Ritchie, you have actually made a recipe to aspire to the looks of that. And I think it looks quite different.
Yeah. Yeah, so mine is called Vibrant Arizona. You can find it at FujiXweekly.com or on the Fuji X Weekly app. But Bo shared with us his attempt to get ChatGPT to make a Wes Anderson aesthetic recipe, and he says that it was doomed from the start as soon as it picked Velvia. That's it. And that's the cool thing, is that Bo has the experience to know that okay, this setting is not going to be right. Like, he can recognize that. I would think that somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience with Fujifilm cameras may not know. Like, they may be like, oh, Velvia, that's great, that's cool, but that not knowing that wouldn't be a good choice. And he said that this picture here was the best. That if the lighting is right, it can produce kind of a Wes Anderson look, but most of the time it doesn't. But I like this picture. I think it's a cool picture. And we also included the recipe there on the left hand side. If anybody wants to try it for themselves, they can do that. Use Bo's AI Wes Anderson film simulation recipe. And Bo is watching, so we would love to hear any thoughts that you have regarding your experience and the recipe and anything like that. So please let us know, and we'll chat about it here. We wanted to give a little extra time in this section to talk about it, because this is what the whole this episode and the last episode were about, was using ChatGPT to create film simulation recipes. Is it a good idea? Will it work? Should it be done? Is it a good idea, bad idea? All that kind of stuff. So the fact that Bo went out and did it is just really cool. And I think there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from that.
Yes, absolutely. So, to get a bit of feedback from that is really cool. And if you have a moment, Bo, then you can share with us what your thoughts were, and we can check that out just now. We have another recipe by someone else who created one, so we'll have a look at that. That gives everyone a little bit more time to write their comments in the comment section, and then we can discuss that shortly. And yeah, if you want to use it, you can either screenshot this recipe here right now. We will also put it in the description of the show, so you can so you can also shoot with it if you wish. And Bo said he's posted a comment here already. So let's just have a look. He said, I pursued whilst knowing it was never going to work. Well, this is what I call, consequent and seeing something to the end. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And he says there was no way that ChatGPT can do what Ritchie can yet.
And I agree with that. I think once, because ChatGPT is just a verbal, it can analyze words, right? It can't analyze photographs yet. I think there are AI programs that can analyze photos, but they can't then spit out words. So you kind of have to have those two technologies merged together, or maybe it can analyze a section of a Wes Anderson movie or still shots from it, and then understand the words that are in the the manual for the different Fujifilm cameras and stuff, maybe, or what people have said about it, and then try and figure out where the two can meet. And the technology is not there. I don't know if it'll be there in a year, 5 years, 10 years, how long out that is. But I think it will eventually get there. I think it's just a matter of time.
Possibly. It's a scary thought for me. But for now, we're having a lot of fun, and I'm glad that Bo had fun using and developing it. What I picked up also from his chat and saw in when I was working with it myself also is that it often is extremely vague, and it kind of like wants to, say, well, this is only a starting point. And I mean, I know that you also, Ritchie, you often say, well, season to taste, as you always say, which is great. But because there are so many variables where it says, well, you can do it like this, but actually you could also do something completely different. So sometimes I feel it's so unspecific that it's really more a guideline rather than the recipe that what we understand a recipe to be.
Yeah,
and maybe
just
that will
still
change in future.
Sorry. Yeah, it's just spitting something out is all it's doing. And it is trying to, like for example, my guess is that it knows Wes Anderson has been trained to look at Wes Anderson's description of his aesthetic, which is vibrant, right? And then it comes over to the Fujifilm settings, and it sees that there's a description of Velvia being vibrant. So it says, boom, there's a match. And so it puts those together, but it's not necessarily the right look. It doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand. It is never, ChatGPT has never seen a Wes Anderson movie. It's never seen a Fujifilm photograph. So, I mean, it's just trying to match words.
Yes. Yeah, very good point there. Thank you. All right. But we have one more submission and recipe, and that was Enrico, who also chatted with ChatGPT, and he created a vintage film in very black and white. And he said that he wanted to make a real film look vintage recipe, but ChatGPT decided that it was going to give him a very more, like he said, I think a 1930s vibe that he felt this recipe gave him. And so he thought This is apparently Yale University where he visited for whatever reason, and he thought that, you know, an old institution would look really good in this kind of vintage look, which I very much agree with him. I don't know what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, it's a cool look for sure, and the toning of it is real interesting. Like a lot of times you think of like black and white being kind of like a warm tone, like it went through a sepia bath. That was super common, even if it wasn't like just a strong sepia look, because of the archival qualities of putting it. Like a print will fade over time, but if you even put it in a sepia bath for like 30 seconds, it's going to last a lot longer, and it's going to give it just a hint of a warm tone and not like overly like reddish colors. It's just you barely notice it, and so a lot of times because of that, you think of the toning of a photograph, black and white photograph, being kind of like slightly warm or very warm or something like that. But in this case, you got kind of this like greenish color to it, and there are all sorts of different ways to tone a black and white image, and that is one of the colors that you could get in a print. And so, not the most common, but interestingly enough, you can. I actually like how this looks in this scenario here. What caught my attention, and I would love if Enrico could enlighten us a little more on his experiences and all that stuff, his opinions, and but he also sent us a transcript of the chat, right? And my impression reading it was that he really had to fight with ChatGPT for it to get him to the point of having a finished recipe. It was a struggle. This is the way it came across to me.
Yes.
Like he had to arm wrestle ChatGPT just to get it to give him what he got. So and of course, Enrico, having experience with the cameras and stuff, he knows what to do to get him that recipe. But somebody else who has less experience wouldn't know to keep fighting it, keep wrestling with it to get it to finally spit out everything that you need.
Yes. Well, and this has kind of like been our experience, isn't it? That
Yeah.
If you just ask it, it won't give you something straightforward. You really need to squeeze it and poke it to spit out something.
Yep.
So Enrico, if you are still around, you're more than welcome to give us a bit more of a backstory. And, you know, otherwise, if anyone else in the audience would like to try this out, screenshot it. But yeah, we'll also put it in the description of the show so that you can try it out and take it for a spin and see how it works for you. I really do like the look. I think it's got a bit of a maybe almost like is it an Alfred Hitchcock vibe or just a very you know, like olden days vintage feel to it. So it's nice. It's definitely nice. I will definitely give it a try. So
Okay.
Thank you very much for humoring us and for playing around with it and sharing your results with us. And this brings us to the end of the images.
Yeah. Thank you guys all for sharing your photographs with us, and it's a lot of fun to look at them, and we're happy to share them and talk about them. And you know, it's really cool that, you know, since this is you know, about you guys, you know, we really love to show your pictures.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Bo just says that it's got a bit of a duotone to it. I think that's what we're all picking up. Absolutely. Very nice. And then Jerry's just saying he's impressed with everyone's efforts to create recipes and really believe that the technology will one day allow us to create near perfect look by sampling photos in the future. What a scary thought, Jerry.
And the interesting thing about what he says there is that it takes the AI requires photographs to be able to copy photographs, right? In order for it to create, for example, Wes Anderson look. Wes Anderson had to create the look in the first place for it to to even have a chance to do that. And so I think even when the technology gets there, and I'm sure it will eventually, I think that it will still require photographers to have their own unique style, right? For it to copy and essentially steal from, but that's another story.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think this is the last time we're discussing this kind of stuff, or that you find those kinds of topics in photography forums, because I think it is something that will stick with us for quite some time.
Yeah, it's not going away.
No, it won't. And it will morph and whatever. And while humanity's been at this since the 1600s, so we've got some history on this, and possibly some more way to go. But I think for now, this has been a really cool experiment and really great to see. And there is some more praise for, let me go back, for Enrico's image. There is Simon, who just joined us. Thank you so much for tuning in. He's a bit late, but thank you for giving a bit of praise here for Enrico. He also really likes Enrico's image. And
cool.
And we've been running polls throughout the show. So if you haven't voted yet, now is your last chance, because we're going to go and look at the results of what you have voted. So let's go and have a look. See here. We have asked if you think that it makes sense to create recipes with ChatGPT. After this long experiment, is it actually something that's worthwhile pursuing? And with a very distinct lead, most people prefer using human-made recipes. So, Ritchie, you don't have to fear as yet.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about it is even though we had some, the submissions were wonderful, less people submitted photographs during this Q&A episode than in past. So we wondered if it's because people don't like using AI recipes. That's the idea of it, or just that because it wasn't human made. And so you see that in the results here. I prefer using human-made recipes with an analog look, and so that was kind of our suspicion. And I think this poll kind of confirms it, that there's just less of an interest in AI-made recipe. Obviously, there's an interest in it. People are talking about it. It's a hot topic. But when it comes down to people's actual photography, I think the majority of people want recipes that are made by human, who's tested them out, who's made adjustments, fine-tuned them, and was able to create an interesting aesthetic that has that analog feel.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that was my kind of like feeling all along going into this. I mean, it's been an interesting experiment to make and to play around with, and to get a bit more insight into it. But at the same time, I thought, well, all of us shooting with recipes, we're already kind of like fighting the digital look of images, and now we're adding another layer of digitalization on there. And I wondered, I was really wondering how that would go down with everyone. And I'm not surprised that maybe not as many people were taken by it. So if you were totally bored or really didn't get it, like 17% of you said, then we got through this month and we are done now. And we can look forward to something different and more analog going forward. Yep. But thanks again to everyone for your input and your submissions and to humor us. And we've got another question and another result, so that will surely come up in a moment. This is the only thing that I am not controlling. But there is, and there is the second result. Thank you very much, angels of the cyberspace. We also wanted to know which recipe you enjoyed using the most after, we've seen the results of yours. So this is a really interesting result.
Well, it's the poll lines are kind of odd because it says that there's been 3 responses, and a third of them picked Urban Dreams, and 2/3 of them picked Vivid Summer Glow.
Okay.
There we go. That's what we needed. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So, we got a lot of Vivid Summer Glow submissions, and a lot of the Kodak Ektachrome E100 VS V1. That's a mouthful. Images, and we didn't get very many Urban Dreams and Soft Blue Classic. I would say that my personal order of what I appreciated, I liked Urban Dreams the most. I like Kodak Ektachrome E100 VS V1 second most, and I liked Vivid Summer Glow third most, and then way at the bottom, I would put Soft Blue Classic as.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a fair representation, and just by looking at the images that we received, the Vivid Summer Glow, also because we created it during the show, was really interesting. So that was nice to see. But let's just go to the comments here, because there were a couple of comments here by Jerry. So let me just bring that up quickly, I guess, while we are in the Q&A section already. So as far as the recipe is concerned, he said that no, this is not the comment that I wanted to show. It was this one. I guess what it says to me is that he didn't really give the other recipes much time because he didn't think he would like the results. But now that he's seen the images, he definitely wants to go back and check them out. And I think that's a really good point, because often you don't really know what a recipe is going to do for you until you shoot it. And we also know that there are tons of recipes that you create, and that sometimes it's really difficult to keep up. And depending on also where you are and what you're busy with shooting. So I understand.
Yeah, it can be hard to try them all.
Yeah, exactly. But once you see them, and I think that's also kind of like what we are setting out to do, is that we want to, summarize it a little bit and make it a bit easier for you to navigate through all the recipes and put them into groups so that you can find what you really like. And so I really appreciate that feedback from you, Jerry. And I'm glad that we got you thinking. And
I would love to know the story of your profile picture there with the fish. That's looks like you had quite the adventure.
Yeah, it does look very interesting, and we can stick with his profile picture because he had another comment, and that obviously relates to working with ChatGPT to create images. And that's what resonates, I'm sure, with a lot of you, is that we want to get away from the computer and we want to get away from all the technical and digital. And so there is really a clash of two worlds that come together.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of state some of my experience on that photo tour, where just in the off times, like having lunch or riding in the car, that kind of stuff, I just was able to upload the photos from my cameras to my phone, just right there, and then from there send them off to the cloud, and I didn't have to sit at a computer at all for any of the. I mean, I took thousands of pictures, and I didn't have to sit at a computer for any of it. It was just I was able to really not only enjoy the time, not worrying about that, but I was also able to, after the fact, do other things, spend time with my family, or do other photography or stuff. Where other people would be sitting at the computer, and I was having a conversation with one of the people in the tour, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can just because it was a lot of cloudy days and stuff." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you could just replace the sky, and you could do this and make this into an interesting picture." And it's like, first of all, it's not authentic. I don't think, and to me, that just doesn't sound fun. I would rather be enjoying life as opposed to swapping out the sky.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that you raised that, because I had some thoughts about that recently again, and I revisited the reason why I shoot with recipes and why I'm growing more and more to loving them. And I wrote a rather lengthy article about this. But basically, at the end of the day, it comes down to exactly what you said, is that when we're traveling, and we know that when we're traveling, we are really, we are caught in two worlds. We want to be traveling and enjoy that and
Mhm.
experience that and spend time with our family. And at the same time, we want to take pictures. And that can get really tricky, but we don't want to give up either of them. So yeah, so we do like Ritchie does, and we take the best of both worlds, and we shoot, and we don't have to edit, and we just download and share straight away. It is
Mhm.
incredibly powerful. And
Yep.
so thank you, Ritchie, for helping us along to, and I guess our families thank you too,
Yeah.
because they get to spend more time
Well,
with us.
and I want to make two. Can I make two quick comments real fast? First, if you guys don't follow Natalie's blog, make sure you go to her website and read up on her articles and stuff. It's worth your time to do that. And then the other thing is that Natalie was sharing. Is it okay that I share about just real quickly about your experience with your corporate photo shoot?
Oh,
Would that be okay?
absolutely. Go ahead.
So Natalie actually had a corporate photo shoot recently where they wanted the pictures to be available while the event was going on. So she was able to capture some pictures, upload them to her phone, and then to the cloud drive that all the guests all the attendees had access to, and she was able to, throughout the event, add more and more and more and more pictures, so that the people that were at the event could then take the pictures and share them on Twitter or on their social media accounts and that kind of stuff. And she was paid money to do that, but it didn't require any sitting at a computer or anything. It was all happening dynamically as the event was going on, and I think that's just absolutely blows my mind and is amazing that that can be done, and it's all because of Fujifilm cameras and film simulation recipes and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. So, yeah, thank you. I have been working towards this for quite some time, because I shoot a lot of events, and I have for a couple of years actually been asked by companies if I can provide images immediately. Up until now, it's been, can you provide a couple of pictures up and right after the event so they can be shared on social media? Because companies really need to get what they do out into the world with a lot of the different organizations that I work with. And it's been, so the demand has been there all this time, but it's been getting easier and easier for me to deliver. And real time now really now means real time. So it's very powerful, and I'm very, very happy that I'm at this point where I can do this. And tomorrow
But
morning, I have another one of those where I'm going to do it again.
oh wow, could you imagine though, just picture like the future of like wedding photography or something like that, where uh, the f- the the guests at the wedding have like near instantaneous access to the wedding photos as the event is going on,
Mm.
and like during after maybe right after the bride and groom are officially married, but before the ceremony start, the after party starts, I guess, that they're able to then take and share on their social medias and stuff these like professional pictures of the wedding, the actual wedding pictures. The mother can share to all of her friends that couldn't make it to the wedding the photos as it's happening. That's just incredible. The opportunity is there for anybody who wants to jump out and take it.
Yeah, I'd love that challenge. I mean, not that weddings aren't enough pressure already, but
No.
but it's definitely something that I would love to be able to experience and to deliver. And Dan is just putting one on top of it, and he says that film simulation bracket for real-time choices. So
I wish there was a C1 through C7 bracket.
Yes. Don't
where
we
you can
all?
actually, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really nice. But for now, at least we have an app that for, I think, a lot of us works faster and better. So Jerry also shares that. And he's enjoying sharing in the moment and on the fly. Definitely a very good case for SOC.
No.
Absolutely. Fantastic. This has been really cool, I think. Thank you so much to everyone for your engaging comments and conversations. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Oh yeah, it's been a great show, and I appreciate you guys tuning in and sharing your images and commenting, and it's an interactive program, and so your input makes the show better, and you guys really made the show great today.
Yes, definitely. And just because of that, I think we should give away something, as we always do in those shows. If you have submitted at least one image, you automatically enter into a draw where you can win a subscription for the Fuji X Weekly app. And and I think we should go right ahead and find out who today's winner is.
Let's do it.
And that's going to be really interesting. So we have a couple of names here on the wheel. And let's just spin that and see who wins today. Are we ready for this?
Let's do it.
And let's go. 3, 2, 1. And here we go. And
it's Simon.
We have Simon. That was very close.
I know. I thought I was going to land on Jerry.
Yes.
Congratulations, Simon. You're watching, and reach out to me on Instagram or email or however you want, and we'll get this all sorted out. Even if you have a subscription already, we'll work something out. So
yes,
just reach out to me, and we'll make it work.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations and thank you to everyone for submitting your images. It's always great to see and discuss those.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we are on to more analog kind of like days ahead. We are going to talk about travel photography. I hope many of you have lots of plans to go traveling somewhere, possibly more overseas than locally here, because as you can see by my jersey, it's winter and we don't really have, even though schools are out, but it's not a big traveling time for us here necessarily. But wherever you are and you've got a trip planned, we've got the recipe for you coming up. On the 6th of July. So that's next Thursday already. Mm-hmm. And
1 week.
Yes, just a week from today, and we hope that you are going to join us again for some interesting topics that we will talk about. And in order to do so, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to like if you do. And share away with friends and photography colleagues and photography friends that you have, and spread the word to, subscribe to the channel and make sure that you don't miss out on any of the announcements and any of the shows coming up. It helps a great deal.
Yeah, it's that time.
And that's that. We made it. Even without
the background crew, we were able to. Nathalie, like a professional, was able to get us through this this episode without any hiccups, really, and.
And I even found the sound effects.
Thank you guys all for watching and tuning in and joining us on this AI adventure. And I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, that's great. Thank you all for all your comments and, being there with us. And thank you for sticking it out. And that is it. And
cool.
We are going to come back next week. And
next week.
Yes, in full force. And maybe I've got some more support with pressing buttons, but for now I'm glad that you all enjoyed it. And go out there, take lots of pictures, and get ready for some more new, hopefully interesting recipes coming your way.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your time, Ritchie. It's been fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you next week.
Have a very good night, good day, wherever you are. We will see you soon.
Good night, and thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the show.